Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to Sister Kate Shofar Mountain. Just show you a little bit of what we look at every morning. Pastor Joe and I were watching a show last night. I think it was called Amish Teenagers, the Squares Teenagers on Earth, or something like that. I think it's a British show. And what they did was they brought some Amish kids, teenagers, you know, 16-ish to 20-ish, to England and for a month. And they gave them all these experiences that they wouldn't normally get to have. And then the Amish teenagers returned home. They call, because the Amish have this tradition in their belief system called Rumspringa, and there's lots of shows, TV shows about it, where the Amish youth are allowed to enter the world, experience what it has to offer, and then at the end of it they decide whether they're going to be Amish or not. What goes through my mind when I think about that whole process is, does that work? Does it work to let these very sheltered, belief-based people loose into our world right now, and how many of them are convinced that that lifestyle is better than the lifestyle of the faith that they were brought up in? And it's an astounding 80 to 90% of those Amish teens go back into the Amish lifestyle. They go back and get baptized, which their church practices. Once you're baptized Amish, it's for life. You don't get to quit halfway through. That's an interesting statistic, isn't it? Because how many Christians brought up in a Christian home are leaving the Christian church? That's number one thought. Another thought I had, because in the show, I noticed the British guy, really, he was a nice guy. I think his name was David. He was trying to get them experiences that they wouldn't normally have had, including scuba diving, or no, it was surfing, sorry. And other things, took them on tours of castles and some sort of very, very pagan Stonehenge-like stonework, and they sat there at the base of these rocks and they meditated or something, which the Bible specifically talks about. Why would you worship gods of stone or wood? They can't talk back to you, kind of thing. And it's one of those commandments, thou shalt not have other gods before me, that people regularly break. But he also took them to like a bar and a dance club where guys were break dancing and pop dancing and things, and loud music, drinks, lots of young people. Temptation, really. And the guy who's doing it is not seeing it as temptation, and he's seeing it as normal. It only looks like temptation when you've been taught the straight and narrow of the Father. So the girls, for once in their life, wore something other than a plain dress, and the boys, for once in their life, wore jeans. They do wear pants, but they're usually homespun. They're usually made from scratch. And they went to both places. And while they were there, the show interviewed them and said, you know, what are you thinking and what are you feeling? And the girls expressed it very well, in that it was very strange to them. And they thought it was a big waste of time, which I found very profound. The one girl said, it just seems like everyone's spending all their time trying to entertain one another. And then they juxtaposed it with a tape of her saying what she does in the evening is often hand sewing. She does embroidery and stuff like that. So you have a very stark contrast between running around trying to entertain each other, which is really empty time, and doing something productive and concrete. Astounding. Struck me right down to my soul, because that's what the Father offers. He offers a life of productiveness. And the straight and narrow, people want to portray it as limited and bigoted and all sorts of things. Well, here's my question. One, I've answered my number one question of the video, which was, is Rumspringa effective? Yes, it is. most of those kids see the world and say, I'm going back to my peaceful, loving, orderly, productive life. But here's the other thing that struck me while I was watching that video. How many modern teens do they then take and put into an Amish community for a month? How many of them do they take their clothes off and change into a different outfit completely against what they normally wear, make them change their hairstyle, and insert them into an Amish lifestyle? I've never seen a show like that. And after this video, I'll go look. But if it had been done, I think it would have already gotten some press, and I probably would have already watched it. So I think that would be the more fascinating social experiment, would be to take modern people and strip them down to their bare essentials and let them live that way. Especially if you could explain the faith in a way that would make them truly understand it and not just say, do this, do that, do this, do that. Nobody wants rote belief. They want belief based on understanding and also enough understanding to then come to faith. Because faith is belief without ever seeing the actual original. It's been a long time since Jesus walked the earth, and yet millions of people are willing to believe in him. That's faith. So there you have it. If you're a producer, if you're a video maker, or you have influence with people who make videos or TV shows, that's a show I think should be done. All right, bless you. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Look at that sun. Thanks for the vitamin D, Lord.